Before starting the topic of this video, I wanted to make an announcement. With reaching the 500 subscriber milestone, I wanted to get a little bit more personal with you guys, and so that you could see my face and match it up with the sound of my voice that you've been hearing these last couple of months. I wanted to share my history and love of trains with you guys. My father had showed his appreciation of my interest in trains early in my life in two ways. The first way was that he took me on a number of train trips across country back in the 1980s. We would ride the Amtrak Superliners, pulled by the F40s in those days. I just loved these train trips. They were so much fun. I loved sleeping in the sleeping car, eating dinner in the dining car while you're watching the scenery go by, and I would even walk to the end of the train and look out the back and watch the track fade off into the distance. And the second way that my dad showed his appreciation was that he bought my first real train set when I was 12. It was a G-gauge LGB starter set. The next day after I got it, I set it up in my living room and literally played with it all day nonstop. From then, I just basically would set it up in my bedroom every couple of months, and because it was G-gauge, there wasn't a lot of room to set the trains up. It was just a tiny little oval. A couple years later, my father told me that I could build my trains in his basement. So you thought that I had won the lottery. I was so excited. I started dreaming up layout ideas, but because of the larger size, the layout was not very elaborate, but I still had a lot of fun running it. Then in college, and a couple years after college, I kind of put model trains on the back burner. Didn't really do anything with them. And after I got married, though, I built a 35-foot by 12-foot double track oval layout in my basement. And I used larger radius curves so that I could run the bigger engines in G-gauge. But again, because they're so big, I could only build a simple oval. But that set was a lot of fun. In that time, I had gone to a number of train shows and looking for G-gauge, and I would see a number of O-gauge displays, and it seemed so cool to see all the different rolling stock and engines and accessories that came with it. So eventually we were moved out of that house and moved into my current house, so I had to take my G-gauge trains down. And there was no room in my basement, my current basement, for G-gauge. And then about 5 years ago, I decided to get into O-gauge. And I had my father's O-gauge post-war engines. And so I bought my first Lionel Line Chief Plus engine. It was the Santa Fe FTs. You guys have seen it in my attic video. So in the current house, I built a small layout and in the basement of my house and started making YouTube videos on my old channel. But we decided to finish the basement. So again, I had to take the trains down. But I had started investing money in O-gauge, so I didn't want to just take them down permanently. So I decided to set them up here in the basement underneath my laundromat. And you know, this layout has been a lot of fun. It's really been a lifelong dream of mine to build a layout of this size with the scenery and all the cool stuff that comes along with it. So I wanted to thank you guys, my subscribers, for following me and leaving your comments. I really appreciate it. I think it's a lot of fun to make videos. You know, this is a hobby. It's meant to be shared, and I think YouTube is the best way to share the love of this hobby. Another hobby of mine is cinematography. I love using the camera to come up with unique camera angles. I love editing videos, and I try to keep things interesting, and I hope that you guys have noticed that with my videos. So I will, of course, plan on continuing to release many more videos. I want to do episode updates on this layout, review sessions, tips and tricks. I want to just keep them coming because it's a lot of fun. And if it wasn't fun, why would we do it? So on to the subject of this video, Lionel's LED boxcars. So Lionel came out with these a couple years ago, and over the years they've released a fair number of them, and they're kind of expensive, so I obviously don't have all of them. That would be a lot of them, but these are my favorite. When Lionel released these, I knew I had to have one because I thought it would be, kind of cool to have a car that actually lights up. And of course, they're not prototypical. I think they're more just for fun. They're pretty cool. I've been wanting to make this video for literally the past year and a half. I waited. The 4141 was the last box car that I received. I ordered it almost 2 years ago, and it literally just came in a couple weeks ago. So I knew I was going to be getting it. I knew that I wanted to make a video showing off all 4 of my LED box cars, but I had to wait for the 4141. So I had planned on making this video about a year and a half ago. So finally, here I am making it. So first off, the first car that I had received was the one on the was the yellow Union Pacific Building America boxcar. I actually did a review on this car a little over 2 years ago on my old channel. You can click on the link if you guys want to see that. I'm not going to go into too much detail on these cars. The cars basically have 2 pickup rollers, and they have a LED light panel behind each flag where the stars are, and there's little tiny holes that let the light shine through. So I received the first boxcar, the yellow one, and I liked it because it's pretty common sight on Union Pacific's engines with the waving flag, and I like the yellow, red, and gray theme. The second LED boxcar that I received was the 1943, and I bought this for the sole purpose that it matched my 1943 locomotive, and it looks nice running behind it. You'll see my 1943 pulling this boxcar in this video, but it's nice with the of course with the American flag, and then it's got the camouflage on one side, and then it's got the blue stripe that's also on the 1943 locomotive on the other side. So this is a pretty cool looking car. Then the third car that I'd received was the Chicago Northwestern. I'm a fan of the Chicago Northwestern. I like their color scheme. I like their yellow and green. I think it's a really nice combination, and it's very bright. And I also like their logo. So I like the way this car looks with the green and the green at the top, and the yellow with the green hash mark going down the side. And then of course the last car that like I said, I just received a couple weeks ago was the 4141. I think this is a classy looking car. Of course, it's modeled after the 4141 locomotive, which again, you'll be seeing the 4141 pulling this boxcar right behind it in this video. And I bought it for the sole purpose, again, to go with my 4141 locomotive. But I like the theme. It's themed after the Air Force One. It uses the Air Force One colors, and it's got the presidential seal on the side. Really nice looking car. So I'm going to go ahead and run all 4 of these cars. I'm going to run it with the 1943 on the lower loop and the 4141 on the upper loop. I'm going to be running them all together. So enjoy. Okay, that concludes it with another video. Unfortunately, this video took a year and a half for me to make because I had to wait for the 4141 car, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Take care.